You cannot ever reach perfection, but you believe in an asymptote toward which are ceaselessly striving. Hey, I'm Nivea, and today I'm going to review, or I should say, I'm going to speak about the book or the memoir of late Dr. Paul Kalanithi, When Breath Becomes Air. Though this book is kind of unfinished because Dr. Paul passed away after battling with lung cancer, we still get to walk through the experiences of his 37 years of life, especially the 22 months from the day he got cancer to the day he passed away. In fact, in the beginning of the book itself, we understand that Dr. Paul is no more, because in the foreword, Dr. Abraham Varghese clearly mentions that he got to know Paul after Paul passed away. So we are aware in the first page itself that he is no more, Dr. Paul. Yet in the last pages, when Dr. Paul's wife mentions that Dr. Paul now passed away, our heart just sings. We still wish that Dr. Paul is alive. The book is divided into two parts. The first one is In Perfect Health, Begin, and the second one is Cease Not Till Death. In fact, these two titles are very much self-explanatory. At least you'll get to understand what the differences would be between these two parts. So Dr. Paul was a neurosurgeon, an Indian-American neurosurgeon who loved literature as well as human biology. In fact, he was graduated with both English literature and human biology. And later, he had a question which was put forward to his doctor. Doctor, how much time is remaining in my life? And the reason why he asked this question was to plan accordingly whether he should take his love for English literature forward or whether he should take his love for human biology forward. As in, if the doctor tells him, okay, Dr. Paul, you have only 2 years remaining, his plan was that he'll write a novel or a book. Whereas if the doctor said you have 10 years forward in your life, his plan was to carry forward with surgery, science and human biology. Paul was married to Lucy, who is also a doctor. The moments that they shared with each other, which is also written in this book, are very touching. For example, the day when Paul got diagnosed with cancer, the first thing that he asked Lucy was to get remarried because he didn't want her to get into a solitude life. Similarly, they had a discussion whether they need to have a child or not. That is like so much deep, and it's really heartwarming, that entire discussion and that situation that they went through. Later, Lucy mentions about the day when Paul passed away, how they were lying on a hospital bed, hugging and crying, just like the way they did 22 months ago in the same hospital on a different bed. Crying and hugging each other, and 8 months ago they were in the same hospital happy because they got a baby, Caddy. So the entire flashback just comes into her mind on that very same day when he passed away. It's so touching and it's really heartwarming when you read them. This book doesn't strike our heart just because Paul died. No. In fact, for example, part 1, it's not about Paul dying at all. It's all about his experiences as a surgeon, or even before that, like how his childhood, how he wanted to be a doctor, how much he was interested in literature, all of it. Like for example, he mentions how different the life was before him being a surgeon and after him being a surgeon. Like for example, when he heard the news that someone was killed in a car accident, it was just a normal statement. But when he became a surgeon, it was altogether different. And similarly, in part 2, he clearly mentions that unfortunate transformation from being a doctor to a patient. As in, when he was a doctor, he mentions that he was an agent. But as a patient, he was an entity to which things happened. There are a lot of heart-touching moments in this book. Like for example, how he mentions that after being a patient, that he needs to put in efforts and plans to just get out of the bed and go to bathroom. And similarly, how time meant a state of being rather than just what the time is on clock. As in, it's not 5 p.m., 2 p.m. No, it's about the state of being, that living. That's what time meant to him later as a patient. And in the end of the book, when he's just about to die, he mentions to Lucy that this might be how it ends. Oh, that sentence, when we read it, like it's really touching. In midst of his treatment, because of that perseverance and passion for writing, he made sure that he wrote his memoir and also mentioned to Lucy that this book should get published in one or the other form. This book clearly depicts the difference between being alive and living life. And if you do not know the difference between them, then definitely you should pick this book up and read. I would also urge you to listen to the TED Talk by Lucy. And also there's a video which was taken prior to Paul dying, when both Lucy and Paul are speaking. That's during the treatment, in fact. They are just like an addition to this book, I would say. So if you guys have not taken a New Year resolution yet, like if you're confused as to what New Year resolution to take, what I would suggest is make your resolution as live life rather than just being alive. Until we meet next time, keep reading a lot of books, and if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, then please do subscribe and hit the like button if you've liked this video. Bye, take care, happy reading.